8:44, and we will be starting our meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notice of meeting. The New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Perth Amboy Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the bulletin board in the administrative headquarters building, mailing notices to the Home News Tribune, El Diario La Prensa, our city clerk, as well as all other persons requiring notification pursuant to the New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Law. Roll call, Mr. LaBrace.
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Crawford.
Present.
Mr. George.
Here.
Mr. Marte. Mr. Marte. Ms. Melendez.
Present.
Ms. Odiella.
Present.
Mr. Quiles.
Present.
Vice President Gonzalez.
Present.
President Peralta.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Okay, today our student representative is not here. I hope that he is enjoying his summer and all the beautiful weather that we've been having. And now, meeting open to the public for discussion of agenda items and non-agenda items. There will be only one public participation session at this meeting. At this time, comments are invited on any matter. In accordance with the hearing requirements set forth in NJSA 18A:11-11, the public is also invited to comment on the approval of the employment contract with Dr. David A. Roman, Superintendent of Schools. Isabel, has this been properly advertised?
Yes, Madam President, this was sent to the paper for advertisement on June 7th. It's also been posted on the website for more than 30 days in accordance with the law.
Thank you. Public participation shall be governed by policy number 0167. Anyone wishing to address the board, please state your name, municipality of evidence, and group affiliation. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No member of the public may address or question board members individually. Although the board encourages public participation, it reserves the right through the presiding officer to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. The board discourages the public from speaking negatively about any employee, administrator, or student. Individuals can be held personally liable for defamatory or libelous statements made at public meetings. The board bears no responsibility for comments made by members of the public. Comments regarding employees, administrators, or students cannot be legally responded to by any member of the board or administration.
Good evening, Pat Paradiso, President of the Perth Amboy Federation. Please do not renew Dr. Roman's contract. He is viewed by our staff members as a tyrant, especially the staff members who live in town. They have all been counting down the days until June 30th, 2025, and they are absolutely disgusted by the thought of this superintendent being here beyond 2025. You do have other options. Make Delvis Rodriguez interim superintendent. He has a much better rapport with the staff than Roman. or call back former Assistant Superintendent Rick Cromie and have him act as interim superintendent. If you vote not to renew Dr. Roman's contract, the dark cloud hovering over this district will immediately dissipate, and staff will begin to view this board with renewed respect. I know that you have been led to believe that Dr. Roman makes difficult decisions in the best interest of us, our students. He does not. He makes cruel decisions that are tearing Perth Amboy apart. You all get blamed for these decisions, and he gets a raise and a contract extension. Think about that. I would also like to correct incorrect information stated at the last board meeting. It was said that central administrators received the same 3.5% raise that all other staff received. The 3.5% raise that we negotiated went into our salary guides. The people at the top of all of our component groups received far less than that, somewhere between 1% and 2%. To give central administrators a full 3.5% raise when 45 staff members were laid off is exorbitant. To offer Dr. Roman 3.5% raises each year of an extended contract is obscene. Look at the salaries in our unit and look at the salaries in Central. Perth Amboy is a working-class neighborhood. There is no justification for paying this superintendent $300,000. Please vote no.
Josiah Santa Maria, District Rep for the PAF-AFT, and in my heart of hearts, a high school English teacher. Before I dive in, I want to be clear about something. I'm here tonight not as an adversary, but rather as an ally. An ally in moving Perth Amboy forward in a positive direction, an ally to the staff and students. And in that same vein, I'm here in staunch opposition to the renewal of the superintendent's contract. Perth Amboy has a history of leaning on complacency and avoiding the exploration of options because we fear change. We've seen this in many instances, including mayors and other elected officials. And some of those instances have not worked in the city's favor. I believe this would be one of those instances. Deep cuts were made to staff a little more than 2 months ago, and now we are looking to extend the contract of one of the highest paid superintendents in the state. How do these two things reconcile themselves? I know it might sound cliche or perhaps something you might find on a novelty mug, but you can't have it both ways. You can't claim cuts were for economy and efficiency and then extend his contract. Where is the economy and efficiency in this decision? The bottom line is, how will this renewal be viewed by the staff that was laid off 2 months ago? What is the message to the staff that is still here? How will the neighbors, your neighbors, and the constituents you represent consider this? In a time that the district is looking for unity, how can this renewal of a divisive figure be a step toward that unity? Thank you.
Linda Cruz, Perth Amboy. My affiliation is I'm a concerned citizen and retired director of guidance. I'm here to discuss the award program, the Perth Amboy High School Award Program held in June. I don't recall if any of you were there. I don't see any. No, I don't think you were. It's a wonderful program, and it honors the students in high school for 4 years who have made achievements in all areas. And the budget was cut. And when I went to give my check for my award that I continued, and also the Women's Club Awards, I was told this. So the counselors all got together, and they went out with their money, and they bought the flowers, and they bought the balloons, and they bought the stars, and then they baked cookies, because, see, there wasn't a buffet. There was crackers, cheese, and a fruit bowl. You had to be here to see the families all in line with flowers, so excited to be here. This is, for them sometimes, not just graduating high school, but the first time they have a member of their family going to college. The auditorium was full. It was a wonderful program. And as I said, you know, like, Board of Ed, you're supposed to be here for the kids. That's your main priority. Maybe I'm here to remind you of that. This is what you were appointed to do, care for the kids. They didn't have the program, well, the program because of the counselors. Otherwise would have been bare. And it also was the last graduating class of this high school. You would think it would even have more pomps and circumstances. You know, there's a quote that says, to have success, fall 7 times and get up 8. I'm giving you one more chance to get up. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Madam President, Madam Vice President. Ken Gonzalez, 110 High Street. I want to discuss the issue of the superintendent's extension. First thing I want to do is bring your attention to Title 18A 1111, and this was made reference already by the Secretary. Obviously, 30 days notice has to be given. It's my understanding that was done via newspaper. I am curious, though, a second aspect of that particular statute requires that a 10-day notification has to be given. There's going to be a public hearing. If that was done, and this is the public hearing, and that was advertised as the public hearing, then I guess it's satisfied. But having not personally seen the written notification, I don't know if this was done as the public hearing. But if there was no public hearing specifically listed, notified for the public benefit, then voting on this particular issue is inappropriate today, and the item has to be tabled. Otherwise, it's technically going to be inappropriate. Separate from the procedural aspect, I'm simply going to state I haven't had more than 2-minute conversation with the superintendent myself personally, so I can't speak personally as to his qualities as a professional or as a private citizen. But I can say this. I've lived in Perth Amboy for quite a number of years, used to be on this same board, and I talk to people, I talk to neighbors, I talk to citizens, as you do too. I have never in my years met a number of people like the people who talk about how this superintendent tends to be disengaged from the community. I cannot believe that the Board of Education would consider extending for an additional 4 years a superintendent of schools. And it's my understanding that's a 4-year extension. I mean, perhaps that's wrong. 3? Whatever the amount is. I'm told it was 4. That we would do that knowing that the public is so disappointed with the superintendent. As the speakers before me have already indicated, there's a cloud on this Board of Education, a cloud on this district. That's not going to go away until we get new superintendent of schools. The entire transition to the new high school has been an embarrassment. There's so many issues about staffing, and the fact that you would let go of so many employees so recently and now hire or re-extend the superintendent of schools, who's one of the highest paid superintendent of schools in the state of New Jersey. Folks, you have an opportunity to have a fresh slate now. I think this is a great opportunity. Seize it, please. Thank you.
Good evening. Fernando Gonzalez, 129 High Street. I had the pleasure of sitting in one of those seats for many years. And I understand the pressure you've been put under to make a decision regarding your superintendent, which in my opinion, being, let me see, about 7 superintendents that I've been through, it's probably the best one you ever had. And I say that because my life has been dedicated to the school system. You guys work for the citizens of Perth Amboy, but most important for the children of Perth Amboy and their education. Sure, there's political interests all over the place, but one thing you must remain true to is to the kids. And there is no question when you look at the statistic, the information, that this school system has improved tremendously since Dr. Roman has been here. Please, I ask you, commit yourself. We're going to be in a tremendous change this coming year. A new school, which probably the largest school built in the state of New Jersey. You need the guy who has been there all this time. You can't bring somebody from somewhere else. You got to keep him because he's done his job and he's done it well. Sure, if you talk to your friends and you're against the superintendent, you obviously going to hear the same information. Well, I guess I must have different friends because everyone that I speak to is in support of the quality of the school system. So please, extend this contract and commit yourself to the children of Perth Amboy, not to the political interest of those who come before this board to try to convince you otherwise. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Natalie Ramos. I'm a resident of Perth Amboy and a concerned parent. And, you know, I just found out like 2 hours ago through Ken's Facebook page about today's meeting. It was published in the newspaper. Let's be honest, how many people really read the newspaper, right? And I just heard that somebody spoke with has voiced how great this superintendent is. But every parent that I speak to says otherwise. It's a shame that, you know, the place is basically empty. Me personally knowing how many people, like, including my children, you know, yes, you guys work for the kids. I have a graduate, she just graduated now in June, excellent student, honor roll, she got great scholarships, some here from the Perth Amboy High School. And, you know, all year she just kept complaining how horrible the school system was, how the high school is more like a correctional facility, how they didn't even have white paper to print the documents and their work, how they didn't have a budget for the trip, how they didn't have a budget for certain things about prom, so how they had to come up with their own money to get things done. And I'm concerned of the increase that the district will be getting, the county, right, for the improvements of the schools and all that. What are we going to do with that money? I don't think it's really going to go into the right place if we didn't have budget for the simpler things before. Should we really trust this person with, you know, the new funds coming in? Kids are not happy. The buildings themselves, yes, we're having a new school that my son will be attending in the near future, but whose credit is that really? How long did it take us to get there? And while some may feel that he did a great job, you know, sometimes you need change, and without risk, there is no reward. Sometimes you got to take a leap of faith and hope for the best, especially if it's been proven that what you had didn't work. Why not take that chance, right? So as a parent, I have no political interest in anything. I'm just a mom of two. I lived here since I was 7 years old. I'll be 40 soon. I only moved away for 2 years for work. Came back. My daughter just graduated. You know, I really care about my city, my people, my kids, my nieces, nephews, co-workers, kids. And I feel like that's why you're in that position, in a position of power, to make a change and be the voice for those kids that they cannot speak for themselves. You know, and I wasn't gonna say anything because I'm a little shy, but it's a shame that there's no other parents. So I'm like, somebody has to represent the parents, and I know I'm not the only one. All right. So thank you for your time.
Our online remote session shows that Mr. Marte has joined the meeting. I just want to confirm his attendance. Mr. Marte, are you in the remote session? Mr. Marte?
Okay, moving on. Dr. Pepe, do we have anyone remote?
Yes, we do. Good evening. My name is Dr. Pepe. I'm the IT director. I'm going to be moderating the remote public portion of the meeting tonight. For those of you who wish to speak, we're going to be using the raise your hand feature in Microsoft Teams. For those of you who are calling in remotely, to raise your hand, you need to press *5 and then follow the system prompt to unmute. Remote participants will hear a beeping sound when their 3 minutes are up. Okay, let the record show that I have no hands up in the remote from the participants. Thank you.
I need a motion to close public comments. Motion to close public comment.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of the public meeting. The Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting wherein the board discusses any of the matters set forth at NJSA 10:4-12B 1-9. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10:4-12B for the purpose of discussing the following matters: personnel, matters covered by the attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the length of time of this executive session will be 60 to 90 minutes and that action may be taken in public after the executive session. I need a motion to enter executive session.
Move it.
Moved by who?
Diane.
I need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? The time is now 6:08 and we will be entering executive session. I need a motion to close executive session.
Motion to close executive session?
Second.
Any discussion? All is in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? I need a motion for the amendments and revisions to the agenda. Mr. LaBrie, were there any? None?
No amendments, no revisions.
Okay. And now, I need a motion for the approval of the following payrolls: June 14th, 2024, June 26th of 2024, and June 28th of 2024.
Move it.
Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to know why the June 14th, 2024 payroll, we didn't vote on that in the June meeting last month. It says June 14th, and we had a meeting after June 14th, didn't we?
Mr. LaBrie?
So after that payroll runs, and it takes a few days for the numbers to be finalized, that agenda was already prepared before those numbers were ready.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? And now for correspondence. State Department of Education, copies were distributed. Letter received from the Teachers Pension and Annuity Fund approving the application for early service retirement for the following individuals with the following effective date. And letter received from the Public Employees Retirement System approving the application for deferred retirement for the following individuals with the following effective dates of July 1st and July 1st of 2024 for both Vivian Irizarry and Lydia Swindell, September 1st of 2024 for Roberto Rodriguez. And now for our reports from our board secretary, Mr. LeBrace. Sorry to interrupt. After those reports, Mr. LeBrace, can you clarify some things after those reports? Okay.
So report of bid opening, June 11th. Milk and dairy bid, there was one bidder, Creamoland, Florence, New Jersey, $593,153.07. Delivered pizza, there was one bid received. S&Z Food Service Corp., Perth Amboy, New Jersey, $9.60 for 16-inch cheese pizza, $10.10 for 16-inch meat pizza. Cafeteria paper and plastics. Interborough Packaging Corporation, Montgomery, New York, $19,580.74. Unipack Corporation, West Long Branch, New Jersey, $19,551.65. WB Mason, Cranberry, New Jersey, $228,297.35. United Sales USA Corp., Brooklyn, New York, not totaled. ACJ&R, Ewing, New Jersey, $89,371. Central Polybag Corp., Linden, New Jersey, $10,775.20. APCO Paper and Plastics, Island Park, New York, $202,083.98. Seashore Fruit and Produce, Vineland, New Jersey, $241,656.84. Imperial Bag and Paper Company, LLC, Jersey City, New Jersey, $213,627.64. Bread and rolls, there was one bid received. RP Baking, LLC, Pectors, Northvale, New Jersey, $156,395.50. Bid for commercial appliance repair, there was one bid received. Malachi Mechanical, Bayonne, New Jersey, $99 per hour, Monday through Friday, $99 per hour standard travel charge for diagnostic visits, and 30% markup on parts. Bid for produce delivery margin, there were no bids received. On June 27th, delivered pizza was bid. S&Z Food Service Corp., Perth Amboy, New Jersey, $9.15 for a 14-inch pizza, $9.70 for a 14-inch meat pizza. Produce delivery margin was rebid. Food Co. Distributors, Inc., Eatontown, New Jersey, produce delivery margin 150%. Seashore Fruit and Produce Company, Vineland, New Jersey, produce delivery margin 6%. On June 28th, there was a bid open for weight room equipment, Perth Amboy High School. Two bids were received. SPS Inc., Huntington, New York, $163,876, and Combat Brands LLC, DBA Fitness First, Lenexa, Kansas, $171,411. Secretary's monthly financial report for the month of May 2024. Treasurer's monthly financial report for May 2024. May began with $54,793,372.51. Cash receipts were $65,156,998.18. Cash disbursements $61,944,158.46 for an ending balance on May 31st, of $58 million, $58,006,212.23. Acceptance of the reports of the Secretary and Treasurers as submitted and as being in agreement for the month of May 2024. Acceptance of certification from the Board Secretary that no major line item has been overexpended for the month of May 2024.
And Mr. LaBrace, would you be able to further explain how the salary works and the steps and all that stuff? Because I know a few comments have been made today and even in the past. Can you clarify a little bit of that process?
Sure. So the salary negotiations between for the collective bargaining agreement, they come to a rate that was 3.5%. That 3.5% then is the total amount of the increase for the entire unit. The salary guides are prepared by the union, so each step is what they present to us. When we receive it, we just do the math to make sure that the numbers check out to the appropriate 3.5% increase in total, but the steps are prepared by the union and sent to us.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify so that everyone has an understanding of how this works and that whole process. And then Isabel, sorry, Ms. Machado, some other comments were made, and I just want to clarify because I don't feel like everyone understands like the process. I know it takes us some time to understand everything. So would you be able to clarify some?
Yes, so I just wanted to make sure that the public had the correct information. The superintendent is currently under contract for through the 25-26 school year. So that's 2 years left on the contract. The notice of the hearing and notice of public comment was advertised on June 7th for this meeting, the July 11th meeting. So I know there was a member of the public who insinuated that the proper notices were not put out there. That is not accurate. Both the public comment on the superintendent's contract was advertised 30 days in advance, 10 days in advance for this public hearing this evening.
Thank you. And now for my bereavement announcements from our administration building, Maritza Ramirez's uncle. From Willen School, Ashley Perez, great uncle. From the high school, Lisa Cancel's father. Jasenia de Jesus's aunt. From Flynn School, Harsha Parmar, mother. From Rose Lopez, Michelle Kane, sister. From Shoal School, Katrika Boykin's aunt. We are very sorry for your loss. And now for the superintendent's report, Dr. David Roman.
I wanted to make everyone aware that we are actively working towards ensuring that we have a successful school opening in August and September. We have the community grand reopening of our high school, and that will take place on August 28th, and that is with everybody from the community. More information is coming out from central office and Mr. Rodriguez and Dr. Medina, who I want to thank in working with the board to really have our community take a look at this school before we open it. Clearly, we've mentioned this a number of times. The grand opening is on August 27th, which is a Tuesday, and that is by invitation only. We'll have other meetings that will be taking place at the high school, the new high school. We're no longer really calling it the new high school. We're referring now to this building as Eagle Avenue, so that there is clarity, and we will talk more about what that looks like over the next number of years as it relates to transitioning the district and this school building, Eagle Avenue. We have Labor Day, September 2nd. That will be the last time it will close, but prior to that, we will have our first Board of Education meeting at the high school, not Eagle Avenue. And September 3rd, Staff Development Day 1, respective buildings. September 4th, Staff Development. And then we're looking forward to September 5th when our students come back, and it should be an exciting time. That ends my superintendent's report.
Thank you. And now for our curriculum committee chairperson, Mr. George.
Yes, I'd like to move item number 1 on page 4 to item number 7 on page 5.
Need a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I want to vote no, Mr. LaBrace, on item 4 and 5, yes to the others.
Any further discussion?
I'm also voting no on item 4. And yes to everything else.
Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to our Personnel Committee. Madam Vice President?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to pass item number 1 on page 6 through item 12 on page 7, and I know this is a roll call vote.
Mr. LaBrace, roll call. Oh, second.
Mr. Anderson?
Wait a minute, what about discussion?
We do roll call and then the discussion.
Discussion.
You want to do this?
Discussion is first.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Second.
I have something to say.
Can't hear you.
I have something to say. So first of all, I would like to read NJSA 18:11-11. Public notice required for alteration of contract terms of certain employees. A Board of Education shall not renegotiate, extend, amend, or otherwise alter the terms of a contract with a superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of schools, or school business administrator unless notice is provided to the public at least 30 days prior to the scheduled action by the board. The board shall also hold a public hearing and shall not take any action on the matter until the hearing has been held. The board shall provide the public with at least 10 days notice of the public hearing. My name is Megan, and I work for one of the largest municipalities in the state of New Jersey. Public hearing, when we have public hearing for ordinances, public hearing happens, and then the vote happens immediately after. You are allowed, the public hearing is so that the council or the board or whomever can listen to the thoughts and the will of the citizens of the city. So, and for people to assume or to make judgment calls or say that somebody's not doing their job correctly can be very damaging to a person's career and to who they are as a person. And I don't take that lightly, and I don't think anybody in this room should take that lightly. So we should be very careful about how we proceed and how we say certain things, because you can damage somebody, their livelihood, their career, them as a person. That's all I have to say. And also, my vote tonight is not based on feelings, it's based on facts. It's based on what has happened in this district in terms of numbers.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to first talk about 2 retirees, Vivian and Roberto. I always do this for people I've had an opportunity to work with in my career. Vivian, paraprofessional extraordinaire. I saw the way she cared for kids, the way she worked with kids, how she inculcated values along with education. And Roberto, I had a long time ago, I had a chance to work with him on the auxiliary police in Perth Amboy, and then as the vice principal and principal of Perth Amboy High. He was a security person that the kids trusted, felt comfortable with, and he helped kids grow in a way that may not translate to the classroom, but you saw changes in the kids that were remarkable. The other thing I'd like to talk about is item number 4. Just wanted to go through some piece of information here. I have some bullet points I wrote down. Anthony V. Series School. These are the 22-23 data stats. So we'll start with Series School. ELA proficiency dropped nearly 4 points, nearly 5 points. That's in ELA. Math proficiency did go up exactly 3 points, but meeting the annual targets, 22-23 ELA not met. 22-23 math not met. As a matter of fact, the math score was more than 20 points below the statewide proficiency rate for accountability. If you look at E.J. Patton, a small drop to about 2 percentage points in ELA. Math did go up almost exactly 5 percentage points. But again, meeting annual targets, 22-23, ELA not met, 22-23, math not met. Herbert Richardson down 5.5 points in ELA, and down 5.5 points in math. Again, targets for 22-23, ELA not met, math not met. James J. Flynn, which some in Perth Amboy consider that to be an affluent area in our community, down about 9 points in ELA, and a small drop, about 2+ points in language arts. But again, targets not met, not met. Both years, language arts and math. Willens showed some improvement, just about 3 points in ELA, and about 2 points in math. But again, we did not meet our targets, falling well below the state proficiency rate for federal accountability. Here's a bright spot. Rose Lopez, 24.7 to 24.9. I call it a bright spot because it did go up 0.2 of a point, 0.2, not 2 points, 0.2 of a point, and it went up about 0.5 point. There's no 22 data in ELA for Rose Lopez, but they did, again, bright spot, they did meet the target in ELA 22-23, and they met it in math 22-23. You have the same results for the show school. Show school has a slight increase, but again, meeting annual target not met, not met. William C. McGinnis School, slight increase in ELA. They didn't have math results. The reason McGinnis did not have math results, their proficiency rate for federal accountability, I'm speaking, please don't interrupt, that's rude, is less than 10%. That's why it wasn't reported. So just some stats. The number one thing that a Board of Education is responsible for, the first year I came on the board, every board member went through training. The number one thing is a quality education. And in the last 2 years, I don't see these rates changing. Now, I know the high school graduation rate has gone up. Over the last 2 or 3 years, it's remained fairly constant. Now, I don't know the superintendent as a person. I mean, he might be United Way Hometown Hero of the Year, a civic leader, religious leader, award winner, Knights of Columbus. I don't know if he conducts charity benefits. He might be the neighborhood watch commander. I can't vote on that. Might be one of the greatest persons you're ever going to know, but I can't vote on that as a superintendent. Now, although we're opening a new high school, and again, this high school money was allocated, it's coming to fruition under the superintendent. But this money was, for anybody that knows the history of Perth Amboy, was allocated a long time ago, more than 17 years ago, by Mr. Austin Gums, and one of my former board members, Dr. Danielle Brown, was in agreement with me that we should have a plaque in the new high school for Mr. Gums. He is the first African-American superintendent in Middlesex County, and he was the first African-American person to sit on the Perth Amboy City Council, and I don't know if we're going anywhere with that. The superintendent is supposed to be evaluated every year by all board members. And maybe the personnel committee, they did an evaluation, I don't know, in the past, but the superintendent, I'm not aware of any evaluations, and the committee, personnel committee has not communicated anything, at least to me. Maybe the other board members got information. My email has been shut down for a little bit. We're trying to get it restarted. But we're voting on a contract for 24-25, 25-26, 26-27, 27-28, 28-29. The superintendent of schools, the chief school administrator in Perth Amboy, has never, ever finished a contract, seen it through to completion. I would just like the superintendent to finish through June of 26, and if there's a need to extend the contract, we extend it. But finish a contract. We don't say to the teachers union, hey, let's open up your contract right now. Or to anyone else, custodians or anybody in the unit. We don't say it to administrators, let's open up your contract. Now, although we're opening a new high school, I'm sad to say that over the course of 10 years for the superintendent, we've gone through 5 high school principals. Melissa, Mike Heidelberg, Mosley, Daisy, now we're on Keith. We haven't had a superintendent stick around for a cycle. You know what a cycle is? That's where the kids come in as freshmen, they're with the same principal when they leave as seniors. That's another one of my little bullet points here. We've had layoffs under the superintendent. We've had hundreds and hundreds of teachers that have left the district. Again, I was never a good student. I went to Perth Amboy High School. I was never a good student. I was never a good student in college. But I did do my homework on this. I just feel as though with the layoffs, the number of people that have left our district, the superintendent not finishing a single contract, and I know some people said, the superintendent's got a private life. He can't come to football games or basketball games or baseball games, but I feel as though in the past, superintendents have attended at least one or two of these events. How would you like to be sitting in the stands and say, hey, see that guy down there? That's my superintendent of schools, cheering the team on. Last night, AD did a broadcast, and he predicted how the vote's going to go. So I need you to get on FanDuel, get on your DraftKings, get on your MGM bets, because I'm telling you now, this contract is going to pass. So that's my input. I'm not trying to be funny there, but I'm just saying this contract's going to pass. He predicted it. And that's not sarcastic. I mean, the guy made a prediction.
So when I like to see numbers, I like to see facts. So I haven't seen those numbers that you've just provided to everyone. So for transparency, I would like to see those numbers because I want to see if that's facts or not, because I've seen otherwise. And maybe I'm wrong. So Dr. Roman, please, number one, I'd like that to be emailed as soon as you could. I know Dr. Medina's not here today, but if you could email that to us as soon as you can. It's Thursday, so maybe Monday. And then for the next Board of Ed meeting, if we could please have that nice and big so that everyone can see clear as day, because I would like to know. If not, we are not doing our jobs. Any other discussion? Board members? This is your opportunity to speak if you have anything to say on. No? So, roll call?
We did not interrupt, not one board member interrupted anybody who came up to the mic. We gave you the respect to come up uninterrupted, and I think since everybody came back on the dais, everybody who has spoken has been interrupted. I'm just going to ask that you give us the same respect that we give you when you come up to that mic and we give you that uninterrupted 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Today is July 11th, and I want to be clear that moving forward, that's not going to happen. It shouldn't be happening either way, and we've allowed it to happen way too long. So can we do roll call, Mr. LaBrace?
Mr. Anderson.
No on 4, abstention on 5 and 6, no on 7 and 8.
I'm just going to repeat that. Abstention on 5 and 6, no to...
Abstention on 5 and 6.
No to...
One clarification on 7, I know you mentioned it, but there's a 45-second, in other words, one's rejected, the other's accepted. I'm assuming that the ones that were rejected because the higher price of the pizza dropped down by 45 cents, and the other cost dropped down by 40 cents. Am I right on 6 and 7 and 8?
What are you? You're in the wrong place.
On 7 and 8. Oh, that's on finance. I apologize. It's on finance. All right, we'll get there. So my vote is no on 4, abstain on 5 and 6.
Ms. Crawford.
Yes on everything except number 4.
Mr. George.
Proudly yes on all.
Mr. Marte.
That's going to be no on number 4. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, again, that's no on number 4, just to everything else, and I will save my comments for the end. Just for the record, I've been in this meeting since 5:08 Eastern Time.
I just want to repeat, so it's yes to all, no to number 4?
That's correct. Just to everything but number 4, no for the extension of the superintendent. Again, I'll save my comments for the end.
Ms. Melendez.
Yes.
Ms. Odiela.
Yes on every single item.
Mr. Keelis?
Yes on everything except for number 4.
Your vote on number 4 is an abstention or no?
No.
Vice President Gonzalez?
Yes to all items.
President Peralta?
Yes to all items.
All motions carry.
Moving on to finance, I'd like to move items number 1 on page 8. Through item number 21 on page 12. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President. Mr. LaBrace, on number 7 and 8, so I can get clarification. The first one says bid awarded, the 8 says bid rejected. Is that because they reduced the price of the pizza by 45 cents on the cheese and by 40 cents? I know you mentioned it before, I just want clarification. By 40 cents on the meat?
So there were 2 bids done. The first bid was number 8 that's being rejected. That was for a 16-inch pizza.
At $9.60, right?
Correct. And then the bids were revised to 14-inch pizzas. It was rebid, and that's the number 7, the one that's being awarded.
All right, that explains the difference in prices. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Moving on to buildings and grounds, Mr. Keelis.
There's nothing in rule, so I say move it forward.
Any,
Madam President, I'm just gonna read that for him.
Yeah,
Because
I forgot, sorry.
Yeah. So it's just number 1 on page 13.
Yes.
Moving
nothing-
buildings
yeah,
and
that's-
grounds for Mr. Chairperson Joas Keelis. And a second.
There's nothing there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Do we need a vote? We don't need a vote.
No,
Okay, we don't.
okay, and now I need a motion for any old business. Of course. Any old business? No? So no discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? And now moving on to new business. I know that
Yes, unless
Dr.
anyone
Roman
else-
would like to say something. Does
unless anyone
anybody want
else
to say
wants to
anything
go
for new business? No? Dr. Roman?
I have a lot to say after a decade of being the superintendent of this district, but I'll wait to reflect and say something more in depth at a later date. But I do want to say this to all the board members that I've worked with over the past, going on 11 years and moving forward for the next 5. I would like to not only thank you for your trust, I would not only like to acknowledge your courage in being able to see the truth behind the gate of what cannot be said, and I'm looking forward to continuing to prove all of you right. In reference to what, I don't normally speak about board members, so I won't do that, but I will say I look forward to the August presentation because there's been many times when erroneous numbers have been said here with nothing in front of us and magic that happens to be wrong. Some of the things are correct and some of them are wrong. And clearly, some individuals have political agendas that they want to adhere to. The one thing that I can assure you that you'll see over the next 5 years will be this. I will not change. I will not move from what I've been called to do here and working collaboratively with this community and with this board, but I will also no longer sit idly by and hear the lies being spewed at me. Those days are done, but I want to end on a positive note. To all of my board members for the past decade, I see you and I thank you, and to the community members, thank you. To the students, I love you. And to all those who want to spew lies, it's not going to work. Try and join us. I'm asking you right now to join us. I am willing to again put down my feelings for the many things that have erroneously been said over the years, because I'm going to ensure that I honor those that continue to honor themselves in this community. And I will not let you down. I can promise you that. Thank you.
And I trust that you won't. Anyone else? Any further discussion? Mr. George, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? Mr.
Yes,
George?
are you able to hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
President, can you hear me? Okay, well, first of all, good evening. I don't know what happened earlier. We had a few technical issues, but I've been listening the whole time. As you guys could see, we're all different. We all have different opinions. You know, we have different views. And that's a beautiful thing about life, right, that we're able to share those type of things. The one thing that's not going to happen here is we cannot be disrespectful to each other. We cannot be unprofessional. We have to stay professional. We have to be respectful. One thing I could say about Dr. Roman is that while being in this board, he has always been respectful towards me. He has always been a professional, both ways, and we're going to continue being that way. We cannot be disrespectful at all. You know, we're here for the same purpose, and that's for the school district and for the community. You know, Megan and Mr. Anderson, you guys are both right in some point, you know. We value numbers, we also value the community. You know, so I'm sure that, you know, going forward, we're going to continue to improve on those numbers, and we can make a few changes for the community as well. You know, by the end of the day, we have to work together. We have to stay focused. We're not here to fight with each other. We're here to work together towards the community, and that's between the administration, the board, the city, teachers, students, anybody that's involved. Hey, bring it on. We're going to work together. That's what it comes down to. We cannot be arguing with each other. That's not going to happen here. Absolutely not. We have to respect each other and stay professional at all times. People look at us with the face of the school district. Don't forget that. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Marte. Any other discussion?
Yes, if anyone felt my comment was offensive or demeaning or sarcastic, I apologize.
Any further discussion for new business? No? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
It is now 8:55 and our meeting has adjourned.